More than half of Teamsters members back former President Trump in the upcoming election over Vice President Harris, according to a poll of members as the group's leadership weighs an endorsement. The Teamsters, which is one of the largest unions in the country, said a poll of members conducted after last week's debate between Harris and Trump found 58% back Trump compared to 31% support the vice president. The poll was conducted by Lake Research Partners. For the past year, the Teamsters Union has pledged to conduct the most inclusive, democratic, and transparent presidential endorsement process in the history of our 121-year-old organization. And today we are delivering on that promise to our members, Teamsters President Sean O'Brien said in a statement. Our members are the union, and their voices and opinions must be at the forefront of everything the Teamsters do, he continued. Our final decision around a possible presidential endorsement will not be made lightly, but you can be sure it will be driven directly by our diverse membership. The latest polls showed a significant shift among membership since President Biden ended his candidacy in late July. A poll conducted from April 9th to July 3rd of members found Biden had the support of 44% of members compared to 36% who backed Trump. The Teamsters Executive Board announced on Wednesday afternoon it would not endorse a candidate in the year's presidential election. Our mission as union representatives is clear. To be honest and hope upfront, to be inclusive, and above all, to be transparent with all our membership, O'Brien said in a statement. As the strongest and most democratic labor union in America, it was vital for our members to drive this endorsement process. Democrats, Republicans, and Independents proudly call our union home, and we have a duty to represent and respect every one of them. We strongly encourage all our members to vote in the upcoming election and to remain engaged in the political process, he added. But this year, no candidate for president has earned the endorsement of the Teamsters International Union. That is interesting. So the thing I'm most fascinated by, not even that they're not endorsing. I mean, so that happens sometimes. There will be an off year where people just can't endorse. There have been weird endorsements, like with the New York Times famously during 2020 endorsed Klobuchar and Warren for president. What I'm so fascinated by is that Trump was able to get a majority of the Teamsters membership to support him in that poll they did. But then before Biden dropped out, he had more support than Trump. So this is one of the few areas where it seems as though Biden was better in terms of like running as a candidate and getting, this particular union support. Now, of course, this can be chalked up to a couple of things, right? Name recognition. A lot of Teamsters probably don't know Harris that well, know much about her. In the 2 months that she's been running, and I haven't seen every one of her rallies, but I have seen some of her speeches. I can't recall her just setting aside time to give a speech just on labor. So these might be factors, but it's interesting that Trump lost the Teamsters poll to Biden, but after Biden drops out, Harris gets less support than Trump. Now, the Teamsters not endorsing is probably not going to be that huge of a deal. But the way this typically is supposed to go is that the Democrat will get labor unions and all the other supposedly pro-worker groups to back them, even though I've been one of the first people to say I really think a lot of these unions are bought out, but whatever. But in this case, it appears that they're not really clear on who they can support. And it's kind of sad because this is one of the areas where I feel like if you're Harris, you're kind of looking at it and going, I need to step my game up because Trump is a union buster. He's not someone who in any way supports unions. I think it's hilarious. I mean, he was called a scab during the Hollywood the actor protests, the Screen Actors Guild strike or whatever, however you say it. I'm forgetting the abbreviation, but he's not someone who should be able to get a majority of support from labor members of any union without there being something goofy about his opposition or there's some other factor at play there. But no, this is notable because it's one of the few times I've seen where Biden was doing better than Harris. And I guess it kind of goes back to this thing where people have these ideas, not to say they're accurate, but I guess Biden more outwardly appears as someone that's pro union, right? Um, than Harris has really been or has shown herself to be, again, since her campaign started. Now, there's time for her to make, some kind of um, effort towards these people, but this is a really big deal. I can't believe it. They're just like, yeah, neither one we can't decide, and that's a fault of the Democrats. They should be able to better endorse and make the case for why their candidates are pro union, and while the Republicans, 9 times out of 10 are trying to destroy them. So it's just another part of this cycle where these are the kind of things that, like, when I say I don't know who's going to win, I lean towards Harris. I say I don't know because I see stuff like this where the people that you would think would be in her corner are not. Now, whether she has enough support to override that remains to be seen.